What's up, everybody? This your boy, Bless the Damn Best. Your favorite old head to some, and old ass hating ass nigga to others. But it really don't matter which side you on. It's not gonna change my position one bit. Okay, today I'm coming to you for the first time in like a couple of weeks. I've been working hard, digging in the crates, trying to put this puzzle together in a proper way, right? And so I've been looking at a lot of information from a lot of different sources. And today, I'm gonna start this broadcast off like this right here. At the end of the day, I got big love for all black people, whether they descend from African slaves or descend from the original copper-colored black Indians. That's right, I said it, from the copper-colored black Indians, right? This story is one that has basically been oversimplified, and it's kind of complicated, especially when you start your search in Virginia. Virginia was like the first place where the colonists got a foothold and got some economics going. So of course there'll be a lot of shenanigans in the records of Virginia. But today, right, I'm gonna bring you somebody, introduce you to somebody to clean a lot of that up. And I stand on the shoulders of the elders, teachers of the past, great master teachers of life. And today, I'm gonna bring you another one. His name is Mr. Clyde Winters, and he's a researcher specializing in foundational Black American history with an end goal for reparations for us all. So, I ain't gonna talk y'all.
We been fed up and the rage is getting higher. We fucked around and found out the devil afraid of fire. So now when we get turned up, shit get burned up. I see a lot of souls turn up and that turn up. And we came to take the statues down and take the crown. I seen it on the news, a crowd of pigs powering down. We did all of that without no marching or no vote. We was running through them precincts, leaving shit smoking like fuck 12. We bout to do this shit for
Go ahead and start the video, and y'all know how I do. Jump in and out and add a few points. Hopefully everybody will learn something. Only thing I ask, if you learn something that you didn't know, no matter if you agree with it or disagree with it, give me a like and a subscribe. Okay? The comment sections of my videos are a great source of questions and answers. A lot of people jump in my comment section with a lot of negativity, and I don't know if they think that they can shame me into stop doing what I'm doing. I don't know what it is, but I really don't mind. In fact, I become inspired by questions that I don't have the answer to, and it'll add another wing to my research. So I'm gonna dedicate this video to, I'll just flash it up there on the screen when I'm editing, because I couldn't remember his first name. I know his last name is Ambrose, right? And I made this video. It was actually a 30-second short, right? Where I was talking about African influences in South Carolina, right? And the brother came on the comment, he was like, I can't believe you sitting here talking down on Aboriginal culture. Now, I don't agree that I was talking down on it. I was just disagreeing with the point a certain person was making, that it didn't exist. But what he said was, he was like, I can't believe you sitting there down in Aboriginal culture while smoking a Black and Mild. Man, look, it went straight over my head. But something told me I had the good sense not to really, try to attack what he was saying and I just moved on, right? And recently, and this has been a while. It's been at least a month since that comment. So it's been a while. So recently, I ran into the information about tobacco, and that's what blew the lid off the whole thing. Now I get what you were saying, Mr. Ambrose. Hopefully I got that right. Shout out to you. Out of all the people that come through my comment section shooting arrows at my information, yours was the only one that landed. Shout out to you. I'm dedicating this video to you, Mr. Ambrose, rather. So let me see. You know, I'm just learning how to work this shit, right? But I'm getting kind of good. See what we got here. Let's see. See what we got here. Boom. Yup. Shrink that down. Bring this up. Headphones. This video is about 30 minutes long. So it's gonna be a little longer than the normal videos I make, because I'm gonna be hopping in and out. I'm gonna have a lot to say about this information that my brother Clyde Winters is bringing to his people. Let's go. Right now is the he's just gonna introduce him, run down his credentials, and then I'll jump straight into the presentation.
He has been in the field, he's a professor, he's been in the field for maybe 20 plus years. He is our most esteemed scholar. His research and those other doctors that have given us fantastic research, Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. Barry Fell, Wolfenthal, Dr. David Imhotep, so many others have confirmed it. But this is the father of the research. This is our expert. And I'm so glad to have him on today. We're going to talk about reparations. And
that's right.
From an indigenous perspective, and because our research, his research, as well as those other doctors' research and our research, has uncovered the fact that we are indigenous people, that we have been in the Americas for.
This guy is about to bring y'all loads of Aboriginal information disseminated properly, without the embellishments and without the agenda. Get it?
For centuries. And we have the artifacts, we have the evidence, and I'm going to bring Dr. Winters on, and he'll be able to elucidate and give you information.
Today we will be using logic, science, and documentation to bring some powerful information
that you've never had before, and we're going to bring it on home to explain to you how this is the process of how Native people, indigenous people, colonized people obtain reparations. So I'm so glad to have him, and I'm going to bring him on. His microphone is on, and I am going to beg off. And Dr. Winters?
Hello, everybody.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. What I want to talk about today is this whole idea of reparations, but in relationship to our indigenous origins or indigenous reality. One of the things that you have to understand is that when you go before the...
Just in case you were wondering, Dr. Winters identifies as Choctaw. He says his father is a black African descendant, and his mother's side is Choctaw, and he identifies as a foundational black American. Just for the record.
United Nations or other courts, to prove your indigenous status, you have to come from a cultural approach, and you also have to show that you have a spiritual relationship with the ancestral territory. That's a very difficult thing in relationship to African descendants, because of the fact that the Europeans, the way they conducted their relationship with us is very different from how they conducted their relationship with the Mongoloid Indians. First of all, it's important to understand that African people have been coming to the United States for over 130,000 years.
Aha. Interesting. What do you mean by that, Dr. Winters?
The earliest evidence of man in North America dates back to 130,000 years ago in California. And what we know is that these people had to have come from Africa because of the fact that we don't have any ancient hominids in the Americas dating.
Ah, wow. Okay, hold up. Let me get this together right quick. Okay. No hominids found in America. Okay. I think that's how they trace human life. You know, like hominids first, and then they evolve into modern humans in place. So if there isn't the presence of hominids, that means that whoever the people are later in that land people don't just spawn out of the earth anywhere. That's a key point that I want y'all to hold on to moving forward. Hit me up in the comments if you got something about that.
Earlier than maybe 10 or 40 or 30,000 years ago. Also, we know that the Ice Age made it impossible for man to walk from Asia into the United States. Secondly, you could not come to the United States by a land route.
See, this route right up here is the consensus on how the red Mongoloid Native Americans got here.
And to walk from Asia into the United States. Secondly, go in California. And what we know is that with us is very different from how they conducted their relationship with the Mongoloid Indians. First of all, it's important to understand that African people have been coming to the United States for over 130,000 years. The earliest evidence of man in...
Wait, what? What did he just say? Hold on.
First of all, it's important to understand that African people have been coming to the United States for over 130,000 years. The earliest evidence of man in North America dates back to 130,000 years ago in California. And what we know is that these people had to have come from Africa because of the fact that we don't have any ancient hominids in the Americas dating earlier than maybe 10 or 40 or 30,000 years ago. Dating earlier than maybe 10 or 40 or 30,000 years ago. North America dates back to 130,000 years ago in California. And what we know is that these people had to have come from Africa because of the fact that we don't have any ancient hominids in the Americas of man in North America dates back to 130,000 years ago in California. And what we know is that these people had to have come from Africa because of the fact that we don't have any ancient hominids.
Hominids. Very important term. Hominids are an earlier stage in the development or evolution of humans, right? That's how they determine where people originated from. If a people migrated from one place to another, and the first remains, the oldest remains that they find is from a human, not a hominid, it's most likely those people came from elsewhere. See, that's the real out of Africa theory, and that people have turned into a conspiracy theory for various reasons. But that's the science. The hominids were found in Africa and out from Africa from there. That's not politics. That's science. But we gonna keep it moving. Don't get triggered right here and turn the video off, Aboriginal people. You owe it to yourself to see it through. We gonna be done with this part right here. We gonna get into the good part, what I want y'all to hear, because it's some information on here that's not being pushed by your Aboriginal channels. Not even that guy on the screen right now. But we gonna keep it pushing.
In the Americas, dating earlier than maybe 10 or 40 or 30,000 years ago. Also, we know that the Ice Age made it impossible for man to walk from Asia into the United States. Secondly, you could not come to the United States by a land route because of the fact, by an ocean route, because of the fact that there was ice around the coast of the United States because of the Ice Age that existed here. So,
see this route, which comes out of like the tip of Russia and into Alaska, on down into America. See, that's the supposed route that the red Mongoloids took when they came over here and discovered the real American Indian, the black American Indian. But all that's coming up later, because this is the first video in my new series. I'm thinking about calling, let's see, African Presence. No, pre-Columbian African Presence in America. Yeah, that's it right there. But let's keep it pushing.
For at least 100,000 years we've been here. But when we focus on North America, our home, we find in a sense that the earliest evidence of man in North America dates back only to about 15,000 years ago, except for the evidence of some mastodon bones in California 30,000 years ago. I don't want to get people confused. But let's talk about this whole idea of indigenous origin.
Yeah, because I can already hear the comment section right now, because when he was talking about the timeline a little bit earlier, he went from 10 to 30 to 40. Right there, I can see the comment now. You don't know what the hell you talking about. He went from 10 to 40, all that shit, right? The clarification was right then, just in case you didn't catch it. He was saying that the 30, 40,000 number comes from mastodon bones with tool marks. But then there were later discoveries. But let's keep it pushing and keep it on topic. Let's go.
When you talk about indigenous origins, you have to look at the tribes. And so when the Europeans came here, the European found black people. As a result,
look at them brothers.
They called the people they found in the Americas Indians. And the reason they called them Indians is
Virginia,
because they were black, just like the Indians that they found or they were trading with in South India. It's very important to understand this. Many Europeans, they try to pretend as though, he was on his way to India, So he said that they were Indians because he thought it was an Indian. No, he knew he wasn't in India because of the fact that you have to understand that African people have been trading back and forth with the United States for hundreds of years before the Europeans got here. In fact, the Europeans did not come here. Columbus and the rest.
Hold up, wait, what?
Because he thought it was an Indian. No, he knew he wasn't in India because of the fact that you have to understand that African people have been trading back and forth with the United States for hundreds of years before the Europeans got here. In fact, the Europeans did not come here. Columbus and the rest of them, they came here with maps. And these maps they got from African people. These maps.
Okay. Right here, when he said Columbus came with guides, and the guides had maps, and these were African people. These are not the African people that immediately come to mind, right? The African people that immediately come to mind are the Nigerians, you know, the Africans that immigrated here later, or foundational Black American type Africans. No, these were North African Muslim Africans. A lot of them were Canaanites, and they were seafarers, right? And they was already exploring the world way before the white man ever thought about doing it. The white man got the idea from them, but we gonna keep it pushing.
Were made because of the fact that many of us assume that the European has ruled the world for the last 5,000 years. No. Europeans were ruled by black people in Spain up to 1492. In other words, the same year that Columbus discovered America was the year that the Moors were forced out of Spain.
Wow. The same year, 1492, that Columbus went on his voyage, that was the same year the Moors were expelled from Spain and Portugal. Hence, the African guides for Columbus, they was Moors, right? One big area where the Moors came from is very, very close to Spain and Portugal. So, like it's good to put up a map when you talking about this story, and then you will see how very, very logical the story is, and the evidence follows the logic, as you will see.
Prior to 1492, there was constant interaction between black people, African people in the Americas, and African people in Africa. Columbus had maps. He knew that he was going to reach a land. This was not all hypothetical. You can read all of the texts of the Spanish explorers when they came here. When the Spanish explorers came here,
it's funny that he mentioned Spanish explorers, right? All right. A lot of this stuff, it wasn't written down. So a lot of the evidence and a lot of the sources that we have come from explorers, right? He saw copper-colored people is the word of an explorer. That's the foundation on which this guy on the screen's narrative stands on. So we have established that is proper evidence moving forward. Now let's do just that.
They had interpreters, and all these interpreters were black. How could you have an interpreter interpreting the Indian language unless they already were speaking the language prior to coming over here? But see, that's another one to miss.
Wow. Right here is where he would drop a bomb, and it would be a proper bomb to drop. But when you're a researcher and you research with confirmation bias, you cheat your listeners and the people that's trying to learn something by listening to you.
But it's very important to understand this, because when you understand that when Columbus came here, he found black people, he found African people, and he called these people Indians, not because he thought he was an Indian. He called them Indians because they were black, just like the South Indians.
Okay, see, Europeans had already explored through like the India route. That was the route, India, Asia. You know, that's where all of the goods that they wanted, and they would go here and there and all that, and they would document the people. And the people of India were black people, black Canaanites from Africa, and they reminded him of the American Indians. The black Indians that he saw in India were Canaanites. Then he came to America and thought they looked alike. Interesting.
So we find that the first Indians that the Europeans encountered in the Caribbean, and the Indians that they encountered when they landed on the North American shore, were of black tribes. In fact, black tribes, black Native American Indians, they dominated the United States from Canada in the east all the way down to Florida. And they also had extensive black Indian nations from the eastern shore to the Midwest. And then we also had a lot of black people in Canada and West Canada, Oregon, Washington, and stuff like that.
I heard this lady on Twitter say, everybody know all niggas come from Mississippi. Man, not all, but a lot. The Mississippi River plays a huge role in this complicated and fascinating story.
Because we find that most of the Mongoloid Indians, they began in a sense to migrate from the southwest across into the eastern lands, Midwest, and others. Okay, when these Mongoloid Indians came, what they did in a sense is that they became affiliated with many of the black Native American tribes. You see?
Stealing game to later steal a whole entire identity. Indians, American Indians in the Southwest, Pueblos. That's gonna come up later.
And what happened is that you often, when you look at the relationship, you often have Mongoloid tribes and African tribes that have the same names. And that's because of the fact that these Mongoloid Indians have been adopted. You see? And so this is one of the things that caused one of the problems, and that really makes it very difficult when you're talking about a cultural approach and possession of a social and cultural and economic character that's different from the rest of society. Because when you go before the court to try to fight to get our reparations, we have to prove that we possessed a social, cultural, and economic character that was different from the rest of the society. Now, this is the kicker, and this is where you have to be very careful, and why we need a little bit more research, is that we know that when the European came here, they decided right away that they were going to deal with the black Indians, different from the Mongoloid Indians that they met later.
Okay. Virginia. He's talking about Virginia. The first settlement that raised any kind of hell over here, the first European settlement that raised any kind of hell, was in Virginia. This is where they decided what he's saying, to deal with the Mongoloid Indians different from the black Indians in Virginia. Lots and lots of shenanigans going on in Virginia. That's why the state of Virginia, where this guy right here is from, is the perfect place to build a narrative. But when you take a step back and look at the big picture, how it began, the middle, and the end, you will see that many of the secondary parts of the narrative are very, very misleading.
The first thing they did with the black Indians is that they asked to come and share their land. And then after they came to share their land, they would often, in a sense, invite them to gatherings and parties and things like that. And then they would enslave them. And so we find that many of the black nations, their land was stolen after a war with Europeans. And after these wars with Europeans, most of them were sold into slavery. The main slavery.
He would say, see, look, I told you. The story was told in reverse. There they go, right there. Enslaving Indians and sending them other places. Yes. That did happen at the very, very beginning. But it was rather minuscule in the big picture. But let's go.
The port for these black Native Americans was Barbados, you see. But the thing they did is that they would mainly send the men and keep the women. For example, you hear a lot about the first Thanksgiving. They never talk about the second Thanksgiving. Because during the second Thanksgiving, when the black Native Americans came to sit down and share a meal with the Europeans, they were poisoned. And those that weren't poisoned were set upon, murdered while they ate. Yes, murdered. And those that weren't murdered, they captured them and sold them to Barbados. See, our interactions with Europeans has been an interaction which has always been deadly. And because of the fact that this relationship has been one of war and deceit, it makes it difficult for some people to really understand our relationship, because they never really wanted to allow us to express our native or indigenous character. They always wanted to identify us as simply blacks because of their confrontation.
Yes, they are definitely black. Look, he got a damn, what's that? Probably a fox or something right there? Yeah, okay. Let's go. What's this down here? Look like he got a damn possum hunting dog. That's crazy. Let's go.
With blacks in Europe. You see, Europeans have a long hatred for black people. And one of the reasons they have a long hatred for us is that we ruled them for so many years. Yes. The first black people went into Europe in 700 AD. These Muslims came from Senegal. You know what Senegal is? It's in West Africa. These black people came from Senegal in 711, and they stormed into Iberia or Spain or what we call Portugal, and they conquered these lands.
Civilizing the uncivilized. See, that's what we do. We go all over the world, civilizing the uncivilized, and then they turn on us. That's the same thing that happened here in America. Keep it pushing.
And when they conquered these lands, what they did is that they expanded these black territories all the way from Iberia into Germany. Yes. This is where they gained their hatred of us. Because they hated the fact that we practiced a superior culture. And this superior culture.
Jealousy. From all the way back then to Black Wall Street till today. The jealousy, they just can't get over it. But see, this world wasn't made for them. It was made for us.
Was one that made them become jealous and afraid of us. As these black people, in a sense, continue to rule in Spain and Portugal, because of the fact that there had been a relationship between Africans in Africa and Africans in North America. Some Europeans began to discover that there was a new land. But this wasn't exactly a new land. They knew the land existed. They knew they were already trading with blacks. I mean, even when Columbus came to America, he mentions these black people moving up and down the coast selling tobacco. Yes. There is no mystery. The only mystery that black people are not indigenous to the Americas is the fact that they hide this history.
Columbus claims that he brought tobacco seeds to America with him that he picked up in the Indies. He's telling a goddamn lie, just like he's telling a goddamn lie about a lot of other shit. See, tobacco was the key to the whole story, at least this part right here. I've in my research, I done seen Mexicans saying that they was the first ones with the tobacco, but most to all of the evidence points back to the black American Indians with the tobacco. Something that I wish they would have kept to themselves. I wish they would have told the white man, no, never go near this plant. You will die. The next day told him something, man, because damn. We'll get into it, though.
They hid this history from us to make us live in a dream state. Yes. It's almost as though we didn't really exist. But when you hear about the various tribes, the Yamasees, and other black tribes in North America, we always hear about these people during the process of confrontation. Okay, but let's look at this idea. Whenever you try to approach the government for reparations, you have to show how your social, your cultural, and economic character is different from the rest of the society. This makes it very difficult for us because American society has been constructed off an African, black, Native American, indigenous culture. The foods that they eat in America, they got it from us. The music they play, they got it from us. You see? It came from our indigenous nature. But the European denies that we are indigenous because of the fact that they want to claim that everybody came here from Africa. And granted, at least about 10 to 20 million sub-Saharan slaves came to the Americas from Africa. But when they came to the Americas, African people were already here. And what made it so bad is that, as I told you,
big bomb drop right there. Big bomb drop. Big bomb drop. Matter of fact, hold on. What's going on here? Hold on. Matter of fact, hold on. Let's go back a little bit. See what we're doing.
But the European denies that we are indigenous because of the fact that they want to claim that everybody came here from Africa. And granted, at least about 10 to 20 million sub-Saharan slaves came to the Americas from Africa. But when they came to the Americas, African people were already here.
Now, if you want to argue about that one little part of the video right there, about the numbers, go right ahead. Just don't turn it off. Keep listening.
And what made it so bad is that, as I told you, as early as the second Thanksgiving, black people were being enslaved on the plantation. You see? They saw Indians growing tobacco, so they said, we're going to grow tobacco, but we're lazy, so we're going to have somebody else do it. So you know what they did? They took those black Native Americans and they put them on the plantations. You can go right now. After this talk, I want you to go Google tobacco.
I would advise everybody to do just that. Google tobacco. Google the history of tobacco and go to different sources, different people that's putting it out. And you will see that everybody wants to claim the tobacco, but it was the black Indians who brought the tobacco, who learned what to do with it. Put it like that. And when the white man started the colony in Virginia, that's what he learned. And he took that shit back across the seas, and the industry of slavery in the United States was born. But we're going to keep it pushing.
And growing tobacco and the slaves and on the plantations in the tobacco fields, you're going to see black Native Americans. They were the image of these tobacco plantations, you see. Because of the fact that they learned to grow
Dane was right on that. I remember when he was showing the cigar store Indian and was talking about how much people was paying for that. It went over my head. Now I get it. Let's go.
Their crops from these black Native Americans. You know, when I was growing up, my father, he was from Mississippi. And I love all.
Now, this part right here was what made me stop the video while I was looking at it and was like, hell no, I gotta put this out. This part right here is so key. This one part right here is what moved my needle a lot. And I get in, sometimes I get feeling myself in the comment section. I get a popping big, you know what I mean? And one of my big questions used to be like, okay, if all of us is American Indians, then you should be able to tell me something that's done in the home of an American Indian still to this day, something strong that survived in the culture, right? And I never ever got a good answer. The only good answer that I did get was one that went over my head, and that was Mr. Ambrose, who I was talking about earlier. That's what he was trying to say, but I'm glad he did it the way he did it. You know what I mean? It seemed like the Aboriginal influencers themes are like, you know what I mean, go do your own research. I'm glad, and that's what I do. That don't go over my head. I look, you know what I mean, if I don't find nothing, or if I find something the other way, I note it down. But I was like, damn, man, look, that could have shut me down in the comment section. I know how bad, you know what I mean, a lot of y'all want me shut down. That would shut me down. Be like, man, what the hell you talking about, man? The Three Sisters. That's what you got. If you grew up in the South, nigga, you know about the Three Sisters. Check this out. I love this part of this story. This is exciting to me.
Oh man, I miss him every day. Like any other trip problems. My old man always tried to teach me two things. He tried to teach me how to hunt, and he tried to teach me how to be a farmer. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't too much of the farmer, and I'm not too good with guns. But every Saturday, my father, when I was growing up, he'd take us out into the suburban areas of Chicago, and he would grow squash, beans, and corn, and tomatoes also. And at the end of around August.
Wow. Damn, Mr. Winters, you just put me right back there on Mill Street in Augusta, Georgia. Back in the days when a lot of my elders were still alive, everybody had gardens in their backyard or on the side of the house, and they would grow beans, squash, tomatoes, maybe not corn, maybe the region wasn't right for corn or whatever, but like just the idea of the vegetable garden is Aboriginal American. That is the answer to that question that I used to ask in the comment section. Let's keep it pushing.
He'd go and collect all this, plus a little okra, and we come back and we take it home. My mother would can the tomatoes, and we would have the tomatoes.
He said, plus a little okra. Damn, I missed that the first time. Google where okra comes from.
Tomatoes all throughout the year. We'd have the corn and stuff. But I didn't even know at that time. Because my parents had my mother and grandmother always taught me that we were part Choctaw. But I didn't really worry about being part Choctaw because I was just a nigger at school. But the point is that my father grew squash. He grew corn and he grew beans. And you know what those things are? That is the Three Sisters. The Three Sisters is the name of the plants that Black Native Americans grew. Corn, squash, and beans. And there it was that growing up, that's what my father taught me that you're supposed to grow. You see, he still had this connection to the land that our forebears had before the European got here. And he carried that on when he came up here to the north, you see. Because that part of Mississippi that we came from was mainly Choctaw territory. And his ancestors, I look at
the Mississippi American Indians, you know, they came through the Mississippi River, and they were the mound builders, right? Okay, you follow the Mississippi River on down, and then in that area, like through Texas into Mexico, the structures like mounds and pyramids just get greater and greater in architecture and size, things of that nature. That is going to be key in the next video in this series. Remember, Mississippi mound builders. Remember that. But let's keep it pushing. Talk about these sisters some more.
My father's father was brought there by the Winters family. But he still picked up the Choctaw stuff, I guess, from my grandmother and mother's side of the family. But again, as I said, that shows that that's a cultural tradition. That shows a relationship that we have with the land, and we continue to have that relationship with the land. That is unique to African people.
And that's, according to Mr. Winters, that's a key component of our reparations claim, which is the only reason I'm on YouTube.
White people, when you go to a white farm, white people are cultivating what's the most popular crop that they can sell. When they first got here, they said they could sell tobacco, so they grew tobacco. Later they grew rice, and finally they grew cotton. But due to my indigenous heritage and your indigenous heritage, our people continue to grow what they had grown for millennia. And that was corn, squash, and beans.
Aboriginal and African and American lineages are not only tied, they braided from both ends. In my understanding, they are two different branches from the same tree, and it's biblical. It's biblical as well. It's biblical as well. Let's keep it pushing.
That's a cultural tradition that we have. Very important. Could you show the slide from Seneca Village of Seneca Indians? But if you Google Seneca Indians today, they're not going to show you one black person. You see, because they refused to acknowledge their Indian heritage. You see, I had a Mongoloid Indian brother talking about, hey, what about the treaties? Pale faces didn't make any treaties with black Native Americans. When you lived in an area, they just took it. That's what they did to Seneca Village. This was a town that black Seneca Indians had lived in for hundreds of years. And they took it away. And when they took it away, these people had nowhere else to live except in maybe other ghettos in what we call New York City, Manhattan today. See, you have to understand this. Because the European has constantly been trying.
I wonder if that was Old Dirty Bastards people that he was talking about. I heard him say that he was Aboriginal. In fact, I think he was the first so-called black person. No, not the first, but yeah, that he was. I noticed it when he said, and he mentioned it in a song. I can't really remember which one right now, but we'll keep pushing.
Trying to take away our connections to the land. But luckily, when you study history and when you investigate it, you begin to see that we did have these connections, but the Europeans, they severed these connections and just said, hey, you're not a Native American, you're a colored person. You're a colored person. And they use this whole idea of colored person to be able, in a sense, to make it appear that indigenous black people had no connection to the land. They were just a bunch of colored people from Africa. And this is important.
brought to you by Bless the Damn Best Fraud Department with your unbiased news. Let's go.
Could you put up the slide of Chappaquiddick?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. You always hear about all the big shots going, the Kennedys, that young singer. They're always going to Martha Vineyard. That's where the rich folks hang out. But that wasn't always the playground of the rich. That was a black Native American community. But again, when the Europeans saw that they were having a beautiful location, a fine place to live, the Europeans just took it over. Just like they took over.
Hey, another Black Wall Street right there.
Over Seneca Village. See? They never acknowledged that these people were black Native Americans, because if they acknowledged that they were black Native Americans, they would have had to, in a sense, pay them money. But they have always felt they don't have to pay us anything. But that's why we're going to make sure that they cut the check and give us back the money. You see? Because you can't keep getting away with this. No, we're not going to. There's some treaties, and we're going to do some research to get those confirmed too. But the relationship that we usually have with Europeans in relation to what was our land, is they just took it. They didn't try to they didn't try to buy a lease. You see, and so that it's very difficult to really show that we retain legal title. That's why most of our conflict in the courts is going to be based upon this whole idea that who was there first and when did they take it. You see, and so when an Indian comes up to you and they say, when a Mongoloid Indian comes up to you and say, well, where's the treaties? There were no treaties, but that was our land, and we're going to get it back. So we see in a sense.
See, that's why they hold the Mongoloid Indian up like they do, because he got tricked by the paperwork, and they got gangster. But that's why we on their ass, because they gonna cut the goddamn check one way or another. Every game that we made, we took it. See, that's the only way that power moves. It gets taken. It don't get given.
That if you're going to look at indigenous jurisprudence, you have to look at it from the perspective of the relationship that Europeans had with the African descendants, you see, in the Americas, as opposed to the others. So we do have a spiritual relationship to the ancestral territory. You see, even up to this day, there's many people in New York City who tell you that their ancestors lived in Seneca Village. You see, my family has always taught us that we were Choctaws.
We been fed up and the rage is getting higher. We fucked around and found out the devil afraid of fire. So now when we get turned up, shit get burned up. I see a lot of souls turn up and that turn up. And we came to take the statues down and take the crown. I seen it on the news, a crowd of pigs powering down. We did all of that without no marching, no vote. We was running through them precincts, leaving shit smoking like fuck 12. We bout to